This is Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings beat the Phoenix Suns last night 115-104 for their 30th win of the season. They haven't reached the 30-win plateau since 2 seasons ago, and it's only the third time they've gotten there since the 2007-2008 season. Marvin Bagley had a monster game with 32 points and 7 rebounds. Willie Cauley-Stein pitched in on the defensive end with 5 blocks to go along with 10 points and 8 rebounds. The Kings now sit a half game back of the Clippers for the number 8 seed in the West. They're 2 games up on the Lakers, who were blown out by the 76ers yesterday, 143-120. Elsewhere in the NBA, Dallas rallied from 14 points down in the fourth to beat the Blazers 102-101. Orlando had all 5 starters score in double figures. They cruised to a 124-108 win over the Hawks. The Heat pushed the Warriors to the brink, but a pair of DeMarcus Cousins free throws with 5.4 seconds left gave Golden State a 120-118 win over the Miami Heat. It's 7:04. Time to get that perfect Valentine's Day gift at Sharif Jewelers. Spend $99 or more and receive a pearl bracelet at Sharif Jewelers. Those are your top stories. Now back to the drive on Sports 1140 KHGK.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what? Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
We almost forgot there was a game on Friday. We gotta talk about that too. The stolen game. Have the Kings been charged yet with theft?
Oh, snap.
Thank you. Because they stole the game, Kyle.
More like theft-ramento.
Nope.
The Sacramento Thieves.
No. One more?
Sacramento took that game. Thank you.
Thank you. Here's Buddy Hield from that game.
Buddy Hield, normally so reliable at the line at 86% this season. He'll make this one. And he does. The Kings on a 14-2 run have just taken their first lead of the ball game. That's your Petkus brothers moment of the game, but we still got a minute 18 to go. It's 97-96 in favor of Sacramento.
Yeah, Sacramento would, what was a 19-2 run to end that game. And they end up taking it from the Heat, who had led the entire game. You heard G-Man. That's another one. Petkus brothers moment of the game. Love it. Get the spectacular backyard you've always wanted with a beautiful Petkus brothers patio or sunroom. Best price, best value guaranteed.
They're just right here.
They're already in the room.
Yeah.
It's a Petkus brother. Hey, guys. How you doing? If the Kings go 500 the rest of the season, do they make the playoffs? I don't believe they do. That's a
Really?
It's a lot of people. Yeah, absolutely. That gives them 43 wins on the year. 43 wins on the year. I don't think that does it.
They're only 2 games over? I thought there were 3 games over.
No, they're four. Well, wait, hold on. 13. Yeah, but 13. They're 30-26. But 30 plus 13 is 43. Right? Whoa, man. The problem is when you question stuff like that, it makes me question it. It's like, well, hold on. They are 4 games over. What?
Man.
Right?
Dude, math.
Math.
You know?
It's what's for dinner. Yeah, the Sacramento Kings are currently...
Oh, it's because they have... Oh, I know why.
Why? Explain to the class.
I believe... I don't know. I have no idea. Because if you add 13 wins and 13 losses, they should still be 4 games over.
But they're 43, but 30 plus 13 is 43, right? Which means they would be... What is it, 43 and, well, 41. Oh, okay, hold on. All right, so 41 is 500.
They'd be 43 and 39.
43 and 39. 43 and 39, but if they went 500.
Yeah, they're whoa.
Yeah,
weird.
Because they're 4 games over 500 right now. So if they stayed 500, wouldn't they continue to be 4? This is going back to that thing where we talk about games over 500, right? And how it's mathematically, we can't get lost on this, dude.
No, dude, really yeah, no. Let's. Marvin Bagley had a huge game,
but that's the thing. We're not.
No, we're accounting for the wrong thing.
We're not 4 games over 500 right now. That's where we're getting lost. We're not.
No, but my whole thing is, okay, if you're if you have 4 of something, or if you're ahead by 4,
we're 2 games over 500 right now.
Like if a score in a football game is 4-0,
yeah,
and both teams score 13 the rest of the way,
yes,
it's 17-13. That team wins by 4.
You should still have a 4-point lead, exactly. But if you go 500 the rest of the way, there's 26 games left. That's 13-13.
Right. So
you would be 43-39.
Whoa.
Oh, it's just still 4 games.
Oh, yeah, it's still 4 games over.
Well, what's the problem here? What do we just do?
Dude.
Okay, you know what I think happened? Here's what I think. This is so stupid. Seriously, this is why no one should listen ever.
There are 8th graders who there are 3rd graders. There are 3rd graders listening like, yeah, it's 43-29. It's 4 games still.
39. Here's the thing. I think you and I both were going 43-41. Like 41's 500.
Yes.
And so 43-41 is only 2 games below.
This is fine.
Wow.
Okay.
Huge.
So you don't think that 43 wins gets them into the playoffs?
I do not. I do not think 43 wins gets them into the playoffs. I don't.
I think 45 is the magic number there.
I do.
Maybe 46.
That's exactly what I say. I think it's going to take probably 45 wins. And you're right, maybe 46. Just for reference, and I know each year is different. Last year, 47 wins got both the Spurs and Timberwolves in the playoffs. 46 was the number Denver had. And we're going to talk about that quite a bit today, because you know that I have fun, a lot of fun. Somebody thinks we're doing a bit.
Nope, not a bit. We're just stupid.
No, dude, that was a total bit.
Yeah,
that was a bit. We were
haha, we got you guys.
We're going to talk about that because I've been great at predictions this year with the Kings. Spot on.
You've nailed it so far.
But I was talking with a friend last night, and I still am maintaining they'll make the playoffs from a fan side. But if you look at the remaining schedule and you just deal with it on paper, and you haven't been able to deal with the Kings on paper all year, they've confounded.
Right. In fact, it's funny you said that, because I was looking through their schedule yesterday, and I was going to do a tweet that was like, I have the Kings at this record the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know what? That's stupid.
Right. There's just no point, because it's not going to be the way it is. They haven't done that all year.
Right.
But then when you look back, well, they kind of have actually. They have followed this route. They beat the teams that are below 500. They usually lose by about the same clip to the teams that are above 500. They have, I think, 4 more games. They do. 15 road games, 11 home games the rest of the season. And I think they play 2 more games against above 500 teams than they do below 500 teams. This next stretch of 6 games, I'm struggling to find 2 wins. And that's not me being pessimistic. Look at the games yourself. I'm struggling to find 2 wins, and one of those 2 wins is against the Clippers here. And the Clippers have kicked the hell out of us all year. I get they don't have Tobias Harris, but they have looked fine.
Well, don't they have a couple of Eastern Conference teams coming in? They've only lost to 1 Eastern Conference team all year.
You're talking about
I think they have Boston and Milwaukee coming in.
Boston and Milwaukee are both coming in. They play Boston, weirdly enough, like twice in a week.
I think they can beat Boston.
I think if they play Boston is right now, with Kyrie hurting and what's been going on, I completely believe that. We'll take a break. When we come back, the debut of Three for Madness. Oh,
the re-debut.
Yeah, kind of. The debut for the year.
The night-view.
Right here at Sports 1140 KHTK. Oh, Three for Madness. Welcome back.
Bienvenidos.
Brought to you by Fire Wings. 21 different flavors to choose from. Sorry, I stepped on that. Firewings.com. Just wing it. Our apologies to everyone for trying math.
Dude. Brutal.
That really, really was. And honestly, I really want to go with like that was just a bad bit.
Yeah, it totally was a bit.
And not that we're complete and total idiots.
I don't know what. For some reason.
Cat's out of the bag.
For some reason, I had 43, meaning 40. 43 and 40 was in my head.
And I had 43 and 41 being 500, so 43 wins. You could only, anyways.
Dude,
just a bad.
It's
Everyone
early.
has bad
Hey,
Mondays.
you know what? It's early.
Yeah.
Yeah. I majored in communications and journalism, so I didn't have to do math.
Question 1, 3 for Madness.
Yeah, should the Giants, the San Francisco baseball Giants,
okay,
sign Bryce Harper?
That's a good question, Kyle. The Giants.
Is it?
The Giants and Harper. Well, and I saw you talking about it over the weekend. The Giants and Bryce Harper met in Vegas recently. There seems to be mutual interest. Yeah, they should. But you're also talking about a guy that's kind of semi-inconsistent. He is young. And you're also talking about a guy who is going to command what? Probably between $300 and $400 million?
Maybe, but I've seen that the Giants aren't interested in signing him long term. So if you can get him for 2 years and $80 million, what are you doing?
Hey.
He's 26, he's won an MVP, and he gets on base 40% of the time.
If you can get him for 2 years and $80 million, then sign him already. I'm with you on that. I'm 100% with you on that.
I don't understand it.
Do I want the guy making $50 million over 5 years or more than that is the question. I don't know. It's like I want it. Part of me thinks Bryce Harper is going to be first ballot Hall of Famer. He's just getting into his own. I mean,
he's
27
he's
yet.
Literally 26.
The other part is, and the Giants do this too. Like the Giants do this. They will get a marquee guy, build around him. I mean, that's their whole thing since the days of Barry Bonds. They're going to. This is a very Giantsy move. I don't know how many wins it's going to translate to when their pitching sucks.
So the issue, because there's not a salary cap they're working with. Like
sure.
It's the issue with Harper is, I mean, there's the issue with the long-term contracts, I guess, is what I'm looking for. Like you look at Albert Pujols with the Angels. Yeah. Like they're hurting because of that contract.
But they also signed him when he was older.
Right. And Miguel Cabreras is a disaster as well in Detroit. But they weren't 26.
Right.
Like you sign Harper long term, you're getting a guy who already has an MVP award.
He does.
And he's 26, and you're getting him through his prime. Like you can figure everything else out from there.
Do you think they're a better team using that money on Harper than they would be using that money on all pitching?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm asking.
Because all that money on pitching, they got Johnny Cueto and Jeff Samardzija.
Not Johnny Cueto. Gotta stay healthy. Number 2.
This is the
Lowdown.
Okay, I forgot. Nope, it's not the lowdown. This is the drive. Okay, yeah, right. Okay, that's got it. Okay, I forgot.
Do you need a new bed?
Thanks.
Number 2, 3 for Madness, brought to you by Fire Wings, Kyle. 21 different flavors to choose from. FireWings.com. Just wait.
Will Magic Johnson be able to help save the Lakers season?
No, but LeBron
I assume
James
that's what you mean by Magic Johnson, like Magic.
No, the Orlando Magic. Yeah, will Magic Johnson be able to save the Lakers season? And this is important because the Lakers are currently 2 games behind the Kings for that 8-9 spot. No, it's not going to be Magic Johnson. It's going to be LeBron James. And our worst fears were answered when the Lakers were in Boston down huge and managed to come back and get a victory against the Celtics. The Celtics, can I give you a conspiracy theory?
Please.
The Celtics own the Kings pick this year. That's not conspiracy theory. That's a fact unless it goes number 1 and then the Sixers get it. The Celtics played the Lakers, who are behind the Kings in the playoffs, and blew a lead and lost at home. Then they turned around and played the other LA team, the Clippers, who are just ahead of the Kings. And they blew a lead, and they lost at home. I also believe Boston gets that Clippers first-round pick if it's outside of the lottery. I think the Celtics throwing games, and I think they're throwing games specifically to hurt the Sacramento Kings. I don't know what I don't think Magic's going to have anything to do with it, Kyle. I think it's going to be LeBron James bringing those guys together or not. And I have a hard time believing and accepting that LeBron James, a tender of 8 straight finals, albeit through the Eastern Conference, is going to not have a top 8 team when it's all said and done in the West.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Do you think the Lakers are missing the playoffs?
I do. because it took a small act of God for them to beat the scuffling Celtics.
Beat the Celtics in Boston.
Sure.
I mean,
they were a Rajon Rondo jumper away from losing to the Celtics in Boston. I think the Celtics took their foot off the gas. LeBron played the most inspired game he's played all year. I'm not worried about it. I'm looking up at the Clippers.
Okay. I so hope you're right, dude. I know. Make no mistake about it. I really, really, really hope you're right. Number 3.
All right. Got to go quick. If the Kings do miss the playoffs, can it still be a successful season?
Yes, but there will be some people very angry.
Totally. It would be like the A's this year. We talked about that a lot with Oakland. If they miss the playoffs or if they go to the playoffs and lose, it's still a successful season. I think for the Kings, yes. It absolutely still would be, because I know this is stupid and cliche and it's totally different, but it works a little bit. If I told you before the year, hey, the Kings are going to miss the playoffs by a game, you're going, what? They won 43 games? Yeah, we'll take it.
And there's going to be some people who are like, hey, you played away the game.
Sure. And it would stink if that's what ends up happening because they got that close. But I think if you zoom out and you go, man, this is a playoff team next year. I think now, looking at it now, even if they miss the playoffs this year, if they miss them next year, that's a disappointment. But what they've done this year is remarkable.
There's a very likely scenario, Kyle, that the Kings are going to miss the playoffs by 1 or 2 games and end up being 500 or a game above 500. Mm-hmm. And if you just said before the season, as you said, the Kings would be a 500 team, that's when you get drug tested.
Right, and I think in the moment, in that those couple of days after, and maybe through the first round, when the 8 seed gets crushed by the Nuggets or the Warriors, and the Kings are going, oh, that we would have put up a better fight. It's going to stink, but going into next year, it'll be a very successful year.
We will take a break. When we come back, we will review this beautiful homestand. Kings beat the Suns. Kyle and I are arguing about how quickly we have to break here. And we'll get to our drive question of the day and a lot of your questions off of Twitter last night, right here on The Drive. Sports 1140 KHTK.
Hey, this is Kyle Madsen with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Sacramento Kings topped the Phoenix Suns last night, 115-104. It was the Kings' 30th win of the season, a mark they have only reached 2 other times since the 2007-2008 campaign. Marvin Bagley was huge. He had 37 points and 7 rebounds. Willie Cauley-Stein pitched in big on the defensive end with 5 blocks to go along with 10 points and 8 rebounds. The Kings now sit a half game back of the Clippers for the number 8 seed in the West. There are 2 games up on the Lakers, who got blown out by the 76ers yesterday, 143-120. Elsewhere in the NBA, Dallas rallied from 14 points down in the fourth to beat the Blazers 102-101. Rookie Luka Doncic led the Mavs with 28 points, 9 boards, and 6 assists. Orlando, they had all 5 starters scoring double figures as they cruised to a 124-108 win over the Hawks. And the Heat pushed the Warriors to the brink, but a pair of DeMarcus Cousins free throws with 5.4 seconds left gave Golden State a 120-118 win over the Miami Heat. It's 7:32. Time to get that perfect Valentine's Day gift at Sharif Jewelers. Spend $99 or more and receive a pearl bracelet at Sharif Jewelers. Those are your top stories. Now back to The Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Now you can watch the guys on your computer or mobile device. Just go to KHTK.com and check the archives on the KHTK YouTube channel. Now, back to The Drive.
Welcome back.
It is getting hot in her.
Hot in her with 2 R's.
Right.
Multiple R's. No Band-Aid on the face, though. Although I
have a Vocal tank top on.
Actually could have a Band-Aid on my face.
Got something on your face.
Yeah, I do. Welcome back. Hey, second half. Boy, this show's flying by. Let's do that.
Feels like a half hour shorter.
Yeah, exactly. Kings win. Kings win. The Kings win. 5-1 on this homestand. This road stand. This homestand. Only loss was to Houston. And in Houston's a bad matchup for this team. Not to mention the fact that they were obviously a little bit out of sorts. Big wins over San Antonio and Philadelphia. Stole a game from Miami. And just to revisit that Miami game a little bit, Kyle.
Please.
That is the type of game, we talked about it in the first half. They did not have their good stuff. Mm-hmm. If they were a pitcher, that had a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. The fastball wasn't working that night. They had to rely on curveballs, breaking stuff, same thing, and
No,
IQ,
sliders, sinkers.
yes, and that's the type of game that I recognized very, very well as a Kings fan from the other end, where in years past, and still in some cases this year, we'd go on the road, we'd be winning the entire game, and at the end of the game, I would be ticked off and on Twitter, as usual, typing furiously that it just seemed like the other team, like they were the cat and we were the mouse, and they were playing with us, and then finally they went for the kill at the end. That's the type of game we always lose to better teams, and we were that team on Friday. We screwed around for 3 quarters. I thought Willie Cauley-Stein might have had his worst effort of the season, and that's saying something for the first 3.5 quarters, really. And then, and again, about Willie, we try to make a point about this. He deserves criticism at times, but you got to be fair. They don't win that game in the 4th without Willie Cauley-Stein. Yeah,
and the criticism with Willie, I don't want to get into a whole thing here, but the criticism with him comes from how, like, those stretches at the end of that Miami game.
How good
he's
can
so
be.
Freaking good.
How frustrating it is, because he can be so good. He had a block here, a block there, a rebound there.
A huge rebound.
Huge shots. They don't win. And so the natural...
Hit the game-icing free throws.
Yes, he did. And I understand the reaction. Well, you can give him credit and all that, but if only he'd done that. Well, he didn't do that the first 3.5 quarters. Right. And that's why we didn't compliment him. But he did do that at the end. And in my opinion, if you're being fair, you have to compliment the guy. And last night, 10 points, 8 boards, 5 blocks. Give me that every night.
Something that stood out to me was there was this kind of feeling hanging over the first 3 quarters of that game, like, dude, maybe the Iman Shumpert trade really impacted this team mentally.
Sure.
Like, they need somebody to step up. And there was a timeout. I can't remember if it was early 4th or late 3rd, but there was a timeout, and it was like, man, somebody's in that huddle has to come out and do something. Has to go make a play.
Has to.
And Iman Shumpert had said on our show earlier that day, this is De'Aaron Fox's car. He has the keys. This team's going to go as he goes. And he was the guy down the stretch who, when they needed a basket or they needed to make a play, he was doing it on the defensive end.
Yep.
He was driving and making things happen in the lane. And that is what I think is going to be the theme going forward. Or it has to be anyways.
And you saw it a bit yesterday, too. When the Kings needed something, whether on the defensive end or even the offensive end, De'Aaron Fox stepped up. Harrison Barnes, as we said before, I think Harrison Barnes has played pretty damn good defensively. I really, you can see those flashes. He hasn't gotten loose offensively yet. He's just not comfortable. And that's why you'll have this game in Denver, which should be a loss. Let's just be honest. This game in Denver on Wednesday should, air quotes, be a loss. And then you have the All-Star break, where hopefully it's going to benefit a guy like Harrison Barnes more than anyone else, because he's going to have the opportunity to run through a few practices. Now, you won't have 4 guys. You're not going to have Bagley. You're not going to have Fox. You're not going to have Bogey. And you're not going to have Buddy for most of the All-Star break. But you should be able to run through a number of things with Harrison Barnes, and it wouldn't surprise me if coming out of that break, we're going to see the offensive side of Harrison that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, you can tell when he's running around on the court, it just looks disjointed, right?
Yeah.
Like he's just kind of setting screens and then floating to space. When he can do things more decisively, that's when you'll really see the polish in his game and his explosiveness athletically come out.
Well, and what I like, too, is very quietly what Dave Yeager has done with Harrison Barnes has taken him and picked him up and thrown him right in the pool. Harrison Barnes played a team-high 37 minutes against Miami, and he's played more minutes than any other King in the last 2 games, Miami and Phoenix. So what Yeager is basically doing is like I say, he's saying, go out there. We don't have practices right now. I need you to learn. The only way you're going to learn is by being on the floor. Yep. And what's really encouraging about that, again, I'm not trying to say Harrison Barnes has been a liability. I'm saying I think he'd be the first guy to say he's not comfortable offensively yet. And the Kings have 2 wins.
Right.
So Jaeger has been able to gamble and basically play offensively 4.5 on 5 and still come away with wins and valuable experience for Barnes.
Yeah, he's not a liability, but he's certainly not playing at his ceiling.
He's not where he's going to be is my point. And that's I'm trying to compliment the guy.
Good sign for the Kings.
The fact that he's able to stay on the floor that much,
right?
I think is pretty damn impressive. What was it? He was yesterday. He was 3 of 9, including 1 of 7 from beyond the arc, and then against the Heat, I think that's when he played 37 minutes. He was 3 of 9 again and 2 of 4 from behind the arc. So that's 6 of 18. It's not terrible, but it's 33%. That's not where he's going to be this year. So add in that. Add in having Harrison Barnes. And by the way, one other thing, because I've been obsessed kind of with watching Harrison Barnes more than anyone else over the last couple games. I think most fans are just keeping an eye on him when the team has the ball. He's getting some really good looks.
Yep.
He's getting some really good looks. He'll eventually knock those down.
Yeah. He's shooting 39% this year.
When he starts knocking those down, forget about it.
Yeah, if he takes 7 threes, if he hits 3 of them, like, you're golden.
I also wonder, people are bringing this up too. I don't know what to tell you about Bogdanovich other than he's whatever is going on with him, he's working through it, and he's finding ways to help the team. Now, he had 16 points last night, 16, 5, and 4, but you can tell that there's been something with his shooting lately that has been slightly off. He's actually brought it up. I was looking at this. He's shooting 37, almost 38% from the field for the month of February, which is just 5 games. 41% last month, but that's down from 45% the month before. It just seems that the normally very reliable Bogdanovich shot has been a little awry, but I think it's a credit to how he is as a player.
Do you feel like there's some hero ball there with him sometimes?
I think sometimes Bogey likes to, it's weird to watch. He likes to just kind of enter. He does. I'm pausing here because please bear with me. This isn't an exact comparison. But it reminds me a little bit of what Steve Nash used to do that I used to kind of laugh at. He was so good at it. Bogey and Nash did the same thing, would just enter the key with the ball. Mm-hmm. Not at a fast pace, and just kind of dribble, look around. He's surrounded by all these people, and he's so deliberate and so kind of medium pace through the whole thing. You're like, dude, What are you doing? And then either next thing you know, he hits a cutter or a nice little flip hook or something like that. I think sometimes he holds the ball a little long, but I don't want to rip the guy. If add a few more shots a game that he makes, and we have no problems with him. Something's just goofy with his shot over the last few weeks.
Okay.
But I think he's finding ways, to his credit, to work through that and involve himself in other ways to help the team win. And when you look at what Marvin Bagley did last night, the overwhelming question today, and I know we're throwing a lot of stuff at you right now, feel free to be involved at 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140 on the Fire Wings hotline. 21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com, just wing it. Let's talk about Marvin Bagley. 32 points, 7 boards last night. Or some guy named Dale said on social media, about 5 boards too few. Shut up, Dale. Well, you have 12 rebounds, cuz. He didn't. 32 points, and at one point, and again, it was against Phoenix, but you could tell. It's an old teammate of his, and DeAndre Ayton. Bagley felt like he should have gone first. Whether you agree or disagree with him, you got to admire the competitive spirit. And it's not like DeAndre Ayton played poorly. Marvin Bagley was the better player last night. And it wasn't particularly close, though I thought Grant and Jerry brought up several times during the broadcast very good points. It will be weird to see how good DeAndre Ayton is when Phoenix decides that they need a point guard.
Yeah.
And who do they have? They had Eric Gordon, Eric Bledsoe, excuse me. I'm forgetting somebody else. And then
they've
had Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah, at one point they had Eric Bledsoe, Goran Dragic, and Isaiah Thomas all on their roster.
And now and now they don't have a point guard. Now Phoenix, and
don't want to go off on a Suns tangent here, but they have so many, like, Mikal Bridges is really solid. Josh Jackson's developing really nicely. Devin Booker's a good player. Yep. DeAndre Ayton looks
He's going to be a
really
great player.
Good. Yeah. And they just don't, they're so incomplete, but they have so many good players.
If the Phoenix Suns, it's so crazy. If the Phoenix Suns in the offseason, okay, this isn't going to happen. But let's say the Phoenix Suns were able to sign Kyrie Irving in the offseason. You can make a serious argument they're going to push for them. There's the turnaround for them. Yeah. If they get a good point guard, is going to blow people away.
Or if a weird trade goes down where Lonzo Ball winds up there.
They got a point guard, dude. They're going to be a tough team to contend with. Yeah. They're just playing. They don't have a point guard. It's kind of important.
They have a bunch of guys who can handle the ball, but nobody who can really like make plays. So it's just a bunch of ISO. Like, here, you go this time. I think Josh Jackson took like 18 shots against the Warriors the other night. It's too many shots for Josh Jackson.
Well, he took 16 last night.
Took 16 last night. Yeah.
They had 18 points though. Yeah, 16 shots.
It's all right.
So the elephant in the room is this. It's what everybody's talking about. Marvin Bagley. Marvin Bagley having 32 points and 7 boards off the bench last night. Marvin Bagley playing 32 minutes, which, by the way, tied De'Aaron Fox for the team high.
He cooked the number 1 pick.
He did. So people, and I understand this, people are saying, okay, Harrison Barnes is our 3 of the future. Willie's not going anywhere this year. He's our 5. Our backcourt's locked up with Fox and Hewitt. How is this team any worse? And more importantly, how is this team not very much better with Marvin Bagley starting at the power forward over Nemanja Bjelica? You bring Bjelica off the bench with Harry Giles and Bogdan Bogdanovic. That's a pretty good second unit. So what is going on here? Is Dave Yeager? I will admit, if it was anybody else but Yeager, if I was just looking at this thing in a vacuum, I'd say something's wrong. Coach is being stubborn. It's just flat out stubborn at this point. The counter is this. Marvin Bagley is now semi-regularly, at least over the last few games, he's playing as many minutes as all the starters. Marvin Bagley, I mean, he's there at the end. Go ahead.
That's the bigger thing. And we talk about this all the time. I think actually you and Jay talked about it last week, but it's who closes the game, not who starts it.
It is, and it's working.
And I think and maybe I'm totally wrong here, but the symbolism of being a quote-unquote starter, like, why mess with it? Why take somebody let's say they take Bjelica out of the starting lineup and he just checks out. Like, he's like, man, I didn't come here to be a bench player. I was told I'd have a starting role.
Yeah, but I have a real hard time dealing with if that's the case, making personnel decisions based on whether or not a player will check out. And I brought this up about Willie Cauley-Stein earlier this year.
But it's just the whole, like, balance of the team chemistry, right? If that's really what it is, because you and I aren't in the locker room, we don't know. I'm sure Dave Yeager has because like you said, if we weren't so tapped in, if we were looking and this is Memphis, we're going, why the heck isn't he starting? But it feels like Dave Yeager's pulled every correct string so far this year. That's
the point, is that he has nailed it. And when we say Dave Yeager, please always understand, we're talking about the entire staff. We can't name off every assistant, but as a whole,
Jason March is an assistant.
As a whole, this coaching staff has pulled every string correctly, led by Dave Yeager. They have developed everybody properly. I have seen no signs yet that they don't know what they're doing. And to be honest with you, I think it's a coin flip at this point. If not, maybe I won't be too surprised. But I will say this. I would be mildly surprised if Marvin Bagley's not starting out of the All-Star break. I would be mildly surprised if he wasn't starting out of the All-Star break, which was probably, and if that happens, that was probably Yeager's plan the whole time.
Yeah, and I think if they were running into an issue where their starting unit was just getting down by 15 every game, okay, then you change something up. But like I said, it's working. So I get why you don't want to mess with it. But as you mentioned earlier with Harrison Barnes, you get a few days off, you get a couple of practices in. Maybe that's when they make that transition, everybody has time to kind of settle in to that idea, or he has time to fix his rotations or whatever.
And nobody's ripping Bielitsa. It's just
No.
And I understand why some fans are nervous. Like, hey, he's there when it counts. It's working so far. When you're the number 2 pick in the draft, and you're coming off the bench and you're going for 20-10 this day and 24-12 the other day, and then 30-7. Okay, dude. Like at some point, this isn't Manu Ginobili. Okay, that you can't throw that equation in all the time. This team is making a playoff push. It is a legit, for real, not doctored up by the media. This is a real playoff push. You've got to have your best guys. I think you have your best players start. And I have a hard time believing somebody can tell me that Marvin Bagley isn't their best power forward at this point.
He is.
Okay.
He has been for a while.
Okay. That's it. It's not personal. It's not personal.
Yeah, if it was me, if Dave Yeager called right now and was like, Kyle, I'm putting this decision in your hands, I'd be like, are you okay? But no, I would have been starting Marvin Bagley a long time ago.
Yeah, you say that. You think about that, though. What if he did call in and say, I'm going to give Kyle, decision's yours? Well, talk about pressure. I don't think you're acknowledging the pressure enough that you would feel you'd say start Marvin Bagley, and so would I. But man, if they started losing,
yeah. Oh. I would say don't start him because you're going to Denver, and that would not be a good way to kick off the Marvin Bagley starting era if you're catching an L in Denver. Just wait till after the All-Star break. That's a good cutoff point. Like, all right, second half.
Yeah. After last night's game, can someone let Marvin know that had he been available at the 14th pick, Denver was not going to pick him? What? I have no idea. That's top text.
What?
Yeah.
Is that Marvin Dadley?
Speaking of Marvin Bagley's dad, there was I don't know. I thought it was much ado about nothing. It was, I mean, so Marvin Bagley, the second, would that be junior?
Marvin Dadley.
Yes. I like Marvin Dadley. The Kings put out an Instagram photo before the Heat game, and it was Fox.
It was the starting 5.
Buddy. Oh, yeah, I was going to get to that, but okay. It was a starting 5. And Nemanja Bjelica was on the far right side. And then Marvin Dadley went on Instagram and called it disrespectful.
Twice.
And he pulled it down later. I was kind of split. Like, we talked about it on Twitter. I brought it up. Like, hey, he's got thoughts. And then I thought, like he was getting compared to LeVar Ball. That's a whole different league. Right. Like, yes, dude, it's the starting lineup and he's not starting. So if it's disrespectful to Marvin, then it's also disrespectful to Harry Giles, to Bogdan Bogdanovic. These are all big parts of the core too.
Right. If it had said, if the caption had said like, the young core is ready to take over or something like that. That'd be
everyone in this picture is good. Everyone outside this picture sucks. Then I get it.
Yeah, but it was Harrison Barnes with the other 4 starters. That's a non-thing.
I mean, really. That is a non-thing. So he took it down. I think maybe he just misunderstood it. I don't know. I don't want to speak for him. But did you see what Marvin Dadley's Instagram post was yesterday?
No.
You didn't? My guy is the caption underneath a photo of a smiling Dave Yeager. My guy, hashtag Kings win. There's Dave Yeager's beautiful face. So, you know, that misunderstanding.
I think that's confirmation that Marvin Bagley is going to start after the All-Star break.
Oh, is that where you're going?
Dude, I'm reading between the lines.
Okay.
And then between those lines. Because he got a phone call that was like, dude, that's the starting 5. Wait till after the All-Star break.
When quoting that, when using that quote, please reference at Kyle A. Madsen, not at the Drive 1140. Is that sources at the Drive's reporting that Marvin Bagley will start after the No, not that I disagree with you. Social media has brought so much
It's
amazing
the worst,
drama.
best thing.
Really, really has. We need a drive question of the day check here because we have a lot of stuff to get to in the next segment here. 5-1 homestand. We're going to look at the remaining schedule strength for the Kings. We'll take your thoughts if you have them at 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We got to tell you about the overdrive and what we're doing there off the air. Also, we have a lot of questions from Twitter, Kyle. We have to get to those. I asked for those yesterday. I want to pay them off. Kyle, as we go to break, I want people to think about this. We've talked about it for the last week or so, and now it's starting to come to a head a little bit. There are a lot of people that want an anthem played after Kings wins. They want a song played after Kings wins. Everybody can sing along to and do their thing and whatever. Now, a lot of other teams have done this before. So we're taking and have already taken many suggestions as to what would be the song. So you can chat. And remember, we'll get to the rules when we get back. But remember, it's got to be a song that generally people know, that you can sing along to, that isn't too downbeat, which is why Purple Rain by Prince probably wouldn't work, despite the fact that I thought it would fit. We'll get to that next. We should find them a song.
Okay.
I expect you to have ideas.
Okay.
The drive continues. Sports 1140 KHTK.